Welcome to CATtheMinion YouTube channel. My name is Teresa, but you can call me Cat. This is going to be one of my Cats Hit the Deck reviews, but I'm not reviewing a deck right now. I'm actually reviewing my box of charms that I made. So it's been my intention to have these available for sale since shortly after I made them. Now, I've drawn these on printer cardstock with gel pen, and then I cut them out, and they're getting a little bit tattered, but I had scanned them all, so I have all the images, and I could just print them out again, or I could combine them and, you know, take the Photoshop them into even sheets so that they could be downloaded for a couple bucks, and then you can print out your own. What I really want to do is to get some kind of resin or epoxy or whatever and some silicone stuff to make molds and make little like bas-relief ones, you know, so they'd come out being basically flat but have a little bit of three-dimensional texture like this, or like that. So I've been using them for, when did I make these? August maybe? I've been using them for several months, and I haven't been able to prepare them for sale yet, but hopefully if I'm showing people what they actually all look like, there'll be some interest. I think there's about 195 of them. I made some, and then I made a small expansion pack. So, and I've got a list of like 4 or 5 more ideas for the charms that I've written down, but I haven't made them yet. I want to do like I need like a ketchup bottle and a hamburger and like an eyedropper and a couple other things. There also seems to be some gaps in my animals, even though there's a lot of them already. There's a few other things that I'm going through here that look like they're missing too. But I just spent a good 45 minutes arranging all of my charms into piles that go together, and it was a little bit difficult. So I'm going to go over them in order of how I put them, because they were all made pretty randomly, more or less. So I'm going to do these animals. I'm going to do them in order. So put them backwards of how they need to be. Or did I? Oh, whatever. I'm just gonna go backwards from the top. So I have, it's kind of peeling a little bit. So I have a butterfly. I hope that's focused. I tried to get it right in there. Okay, there we go. Extreme close-up. So we have a butterfly. And these are sort of open to interpretation, right? Butterfly often is like transformation and whatnot. I should also point out that I keep these in this box here. It's kind of like it's set up like a checkbox. It's actually a conspiracy palette makeup box. So it was the right size for these. Obviously, if I sell them, they won't come in such a box. I'd have to get or make some little satchels, or if they people would be downloading them to print them out, you just have to find your own box, like a tissue box or something. But if you're watching this and you're interested in purchasing these exact charms, the paper ones, I can either print out a few of them and mail them to you, because I think it's like 10 sheets. It might be kind of expensive if I have to print them out and mail them, because I have to cover the ink cost too, but if you're interested in either having a set mailed to you and having me print it out, or if you're interested in having a PDF to download and print yourself, just comment or email me. My email's in the description box and through my link tree. So this is the bear. It's one of the giant, it's significantly larger So I would say most of the charms are around the size of this butterfly, and then I have two, like three or four of them that are just friggin' huge like this. The bear often leads to ideas of hibernation or salmon fishing. Oh, I know what the problem is with this. So this, I drew this, it was supposed to be a wolf, but I often get it as coyote because my drawing is kind of crappy. It's sort of cartoonish, so it could be a wolf or it could be coyote, depending on how you're getting in the reading. This is my sleepy fox, hiding behind his tail. Cute little guy. This is honey badger. Honey badger does not give a shit. This is a mountain lion. It's just the head. Like the Cheshire cat, just kind of floating there. And I have another cat. And this, I cannot brain today. I have the dumb. The cat caught in the blinds. I copied that. It's from a meme. I think it's because it's from a meme. It's sort of like open source material as far as I know. This is from my expansion pack. This is a bat. I just heard nocturnal emissions. It's terrible. So nighttime sonar, that kind of stuff. I have a mouse. A little mouse. Gonna nibble at your papers. Have a bunny rabbit. The way this is drawn, it could very easily be the killer rabbit from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. I think. Is that? I'm not sure what's going on over here. There's either blood coming out of his mouth or his paw is just in shadow, but it could either be a harmless little bunny or it could be the killer rabbit. I have a squirrel. This very like Pythagorean, no, not Pythagorean. Golden ratio tail going on here. Squirrel. Some of these are sort of realistic and other ones are just like super cartoony, just lines. So this is my buff kangaroo. He's gonna kick your ass. And I have a fairly large cow here. There's the head, the bust, cowbell. This is my fancy goat that I made for my expansion pack. Fancy goat. And I have a llama. I often have a hard time reading this llama charm, but I like it. It could also be like a vicuna or an alpaca if you're nasty. I have a pig who's a little bit smudged in the face. Either bacon time or he's sniffing for truffles. More or less. So I have an elephant here, but it's just the head of the elephant. He's sort of meditating there or sleeping. There's also smudged on here. This is my rhino. Meanings change depending. I either get like Ace Ventura Pet Detective or like Turning on a Dime or Misunderstood or downloads or something like that. So I have a dolphin, but it's just the head. Like he's popped through a little circle to say hi. And I have a narwhal. This is like a watery situation, and for me the narwhal is an alternative Ace of Swords kind of energy. Battery's gonna die pretty soon. I might have to keep an eye on this for when it stops. So there's the narwhal. Just don't let him touch your balls. And one of my giant charms here is this humpback whale. Took me a few tries to get that guy. And I think the shark is from my expansion. Could be danger. It could also be like in the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck. The shark is like baggage just sort of swimming around your ankles ready to nibble on you. So it could be that, or it could be any other shark-related interpretations. Could be talking about Shark Week, either the reality or the metaphorical one. I have a fish here who looks like it's just about ready to grow legs. So it could be evolution, or it could just be a fish. And I have a nautilus here, all these cephalopod fans, and then we have this golden spiral going on here again. Fibonacci spiral, there we go. A frog, which I think I'm pretty proud of this rendition of the frog here. I have a sea turtle, just a little one. But I have this, it would be large if I drew the whole thing, but this is a gecko. Emphasis on his sticky feet. Grippy feet. Gecko. I have a snake here, but I've drawn it as a kind of a resonant wave. It's kinky. So this snake could just be a waveform in general, but it could also have other properties related to snake and kundalini and skin shedding and all that stuff. I have an egg. I have a stegosaurus. I opted not to draw other dinosaurs, but I could. It's not even my favorite dinosaur. I just kind of felt compelled to draw a stegosaurus. And that can give you evolution, it can give you ancient history, all that stuff. So here's an owl. It's drawn more like a little stained glass kind of deal. Just for funsies. But, you know, the general owl stuff, wisdom, nighttime, all that. So I have a trash chicken here, a pigeon. Could also be a dove, depending. Sometimes that one's hard for me to read, but usually get there. And then I have a rooster. Oh, god damn it. Yeah, I got a rooster. So the cock of the walk could be that early morning wake-up call, strutting around kind of stuff. Burb. I have a lot of birds. So here's a cassowary. Cassowary will roundhouse kick your guts out of you. If they are provoked, they literally can kick a hole in you. So it could either be an attack, or it could be people letting their guard down. Right? It's a little bit Five of Wands, this guy. Cassowary. And in real life, their head is like blue, which is kind of nice. It's a little bit like an emo, but it's like a angry emo. I have a crane here, but I've drawn it as a paper crane. So you can have this kind of folding and unfolding origami style energy, or you can just take it at face value as the animal, the crane, in whatever way you want to. I have a pretty big, it's a big honking goose, and this goose is rather angry, so you can interpret that how you want to. I have a duck. It's a fancy duck. Somebody actually told me that I needed to draw a duck, and I was like, that's a good idea, I shall do that. So I drew a fancy duck with a little tuft on its head. Crested duck or whatever. Puddle duck. For all your aquatic, for your ducking needs. I also have a penguin. To me, this often has to do with the temperature of things and being suited to certain environments. I sometimes get other stuff with the penguin, but that's generally what's going on there. Could be directional too, because they're in the Antarctic. Then I have a swan. This is heavily cups related. This often gets into that twin flame soulmate kind of stuff because of the mating for life thing. And just the water in general. So we have a swan. So the next category I have is mythical creatures. So I have real animals, and now I have fake ones. So this is a halo, sort of representative of angels or crown energy without actually drawing one. Although I think I did write down that I wanted to draw an actual angel, but the halo can just be like, you know, like I have a, basically anyone that's in kind of an ascendant, your energy is expanding kind of energy, but sort of on the sly representative of angels. Little bitty wings on that halo there. Oh, I should put these back in the box while I'm doing this. That would make more sense. And then I have a fae person. It's supposed to be sort of gender neutral. Sort of a shaggy haircut and a tunic and leggings there to be sort of generic. So we have a fae person, fairy, whatever. And I have a mer person as well. It looks a little bit more like a mermaid, but it could be a merman as well, just with long hair. Again, more or less gender neutral mer person. This one I usually get like between two worlds kind of energy. This one is, I usually get more of like a hey listen kind of stuff, kind of energy. Or maybe your stuff keeps going missing and you're like, where the hell is it? Or your dreams are off the chain. So here's a unicorn. Unicorn head. Generally you get that third eye activation, but also unicorns sort of, it's like they don't really exist. So if you, it takes me back to Many Waters, the book by Madeleine L'Engle, where they go in and out of our dimension. So if you ride one and you end up unconscious or just don't get off it, you could end up heading in another dimension too. I also have a dragon for all your fire breathing, charm reading needs. And I have Gizmo, although he's sort of copyrighted, so if I sell these, I don't think I can include him. So maybe you'll have to, you know, screen grab and then print him out, because I can't sell him. But feel free to scab him if you want him. Should hold him up to the camera till he's in focus. There we go. Now he's in focus. Okay. So then I have plants, more or less plants. So I have a mushroom. Mushroom. Is it called something muscaria? Why can't I remember that right now? Psilocybin. I don't remember what the muscaria amanita, is that what it is, or is that the corpse flower? I can't remember. And speaking of flowers, I have a tulip, just a little one, and I have this pretty fancy rose here, and I have a lily. Oops, I got too many. So I have a lily. This one, because of the double triangle symmetry, it does often give me that Merkaba shape and energy, the geometry of the universe, and whatever other things you could associate with lilies. So I have the holly berries there. Usually gives me like a specific around Christmas time, and for people that don't celebrate Christmas, it's not a big deal. It just means around the winter solstice, more or less. Sometimes it doesn't give me time, but I made that bat charm because every time this came up like this, it looked like a little bat. So I have a separate bat, and then I have these. And then I have a leaf for when you're turning a new leaf, or any other leaf-related puns or insights. I have an acorn for when you're just a little, just feeling a little nutty there. The acorn. And then I have a tree. I didn't make a pine tree, but I do have this tree. Looks a little brain-like. It also kind of looks like a mushroom cloud. So apply that as necessary. But I mean, I got the branches going up, and then I got the roots coming down, so tree more or less, uprooting, or, well, usually when these are inverted for me, it's when they're the white side is facing up. So if they come out like this, it usually doesn't mean for me that they're inverted. But if I want to remember that they're inverted when they fell like this on the table, then I just hold them like this so I know. Doesn't work that well for round ones though. So I don't have many plants. But the next thing I have basically is weather. So I wasn't sure where to put this, but I have a snowman. And I also have a snowflake. Also giving that hexagonal geometry. And then I have a water droplet by itself. And again, these can do with things that are frozen or not moving or any other snow related ideas, and like I'm an individual kind of stuff. I mean, this goes into like Frosty the Snowman, and there's magic in that old sail cat they found and blah blah blah, then he melted and all that. I do have an umbrella. It's closed though, so it's a little bit of maybe I don't need it to protect myself from the weather, from the water. But maybe I need a backup plan. Who knows? Anything like that. I do have another umbrella, but this is a beach umbrella. So we have sunny weather here, purportedly. But this could be like adventuring into the emotional waters or anything else that you can think of that would be beach related. And I really want to say thermometer. I have a thermometer. Getting hot in here. Don't know if it's Celsius or Fahrenheit because I didn't mark it. It could even be Kelvin. It could be like 9 million degrees Kelvin and we wouldn't know. And then I have a rainbow. Because all my charms are black and white, my rainbow does not have color in it, but you can tell it's a rainbow because I put clouds on the end of it. So, and if I did in like God damn it, resin or epoxy charms, whatever, I could go ahead and paint the rainbow. But for these black and white ones, you just have to understand that that's actually a rainbow. I think it's pretty straightforward. Ow, I'm stuck to the chair. So after that I have planets, interplanetary bodies. So I have the sun, a little bit lopsided. Sun. So more or less what you'd get if you got a sun card. Same interpretation. As is with the moon. It's not like an awesome drawing of the moon, but you can tell what it's supposed to be. Because if you draw without a crescent, you can't really tell that it's the moon. And without the rest of the circle, you can't tell that it's not a crescent. So, moon. And I have a star as well. Although if you're feeling frisky, you could call it a comet. Or a meteor, or whatever. Especially, this would especially turn into a meteor if it came out with this Stegosaurus. I have the Earths. The Earths. With inaccurately drawn land masses. I have Jupiter. You can tell it's Jupiter because it has that big spot on it. And the swirlies. And then Jupiter does have rings around it, so I got a couple of those for Jupiter. And Saturn. I don't know if you can tell, but I tried to draw a little hexagon on top of there. It's so small though, there's only like a little bit of a hint of square of lines and corners. But it's very much obviously Saturn. Big honkin' rings. Although it's pretty small. So the next thing I have is the platonic solids, and I wasn't sure where, well, I have a flask there too, because I wasn't sure where to put it, but I figured, where would you put a flask? I was like, ooh, with the platonic solids, because science. So I do have those. I can get it. So the tetrahedron, just a little tiny bitty thing. And the cube. So the tetrahedron is fire, cube is earth, and octahedron is air. And the dodecahedron, I believe the dodecahedron is spirit. And then the icosahedron is water. I don't know why that's backwards, because it throws me off every time, but no, icosahedron. So if you're playing categories, the die is an icosahedron. And if you're doing Dungeons and Dragons, then you'll know that too. And then with this pile, I put this seed of life here. That's that hexagonal geometry. It's the first iteration in the flower of life. So you get another ring of circles around there, and you're getting there. And then I just put this flask here. I remember from when I was in high school that one of them's called an Erlenmeyer flask. And I don't know if it's this flat one or the one that's like bulb shaped, because the other one begins with F, I think, but I don't remember what it is. So this is one or the other. There's a solution in there. So then I have just sort of generic-ish recognizable symbols that we use. So I have a heart, clearly emotions, although possibly a butt or the spades, which would be swords if you see it that way. But I have a heart. And then I should have put this with the signs though. Whatever. This is a no. It's going to be a no from me. And then the peace sign. Although I think if you get it this way, it's algaes. And I have the yin yang for your duality needs. And sort of duality also, but this is the pentagram. So in this position, with the little star at the top, which is sort of a little diamond shape, this is inverted, basically. We have Capricorn, the goat, so the nose and the ears and then the horns up there. And we turn it this way, and now it's Venus because this is the vulva, and then we have the legs and the arms and the little head up here. And I'm gonna have to get some water in a second. I'm getting kind of raspy. Ankh. The Ankh. Eternal life, and so on. I'm gonna sip of water. Ow, ow. Alright. Ow. So the next little pile that I put together is signs, like actual signs. So I have a white flag here. Although if you're inventive, it could be a hatchet. Which I think I need to make an axe or a maul or something too, but white flag. Railroad crossing. Tried to draw a little train behind there so it's a little more obvious. And I have a stop sign. And a caution sign. And a dude walking sign. Or a non-denominational person. Crosswalk, walking, whatever. So the next pile I have is structures. So I have this door, the doorway. I always think of Beetlejuice when I see this, right? Draw a door and then knock 3 times. I've drawn a little steps going up here too, just for extra thing. This could come in with 7 of Wands energy. We don't know where this goes. It could be a portal. It could be a gateway. It could be some Toe Jam and Earl gateway action going on here. Could be something that's blocked, that's locked. I'm not really sure. And I just put this key with it because I couldn't figure out where else to put the key. So I have a doorway and then I have a key. Although there is no keyhole on that door. It's just a door with a handle. And there's a door. Steps. And the key. So for other structures, I don't really have a house, but I have a chalet instead. There's supposed to be little skis on the side there. But you know, more or less standing in for a house, and then it could have more specific meanings like, ooh, I'm up on the mountain, or I'm about to go skiing, or whatever. Sort of small housing unit. So I do have a tower. This could literally be the tower, or it could be like some Rapunzel action going on. It could be a lookout place. It could be a lighthouse if it wanted to be, especially if the flashlight came in with this. It could be a grain tower. It could be part of a fortress. It could be any of those kind of things. It could be some kind of phallic symbol, synchronicity, or corroboration. Now, besides the tower, I do have this castle front, and this does give off kind of Four of Wands energy on its own. There's a little flag up there, just kind of chilling. This drawbridge, possibly up. Could be down if you think it's open into the back there, but depends on how you feel. So then I have Stonehenge, but I only drew part of it just to make it a little easier. And I also have a pyramid. So this could be whatever related to pyramids that you think. It could be half of an octahedron. It could be a hemisphere because that's what it represents. And there's a little doorway there, and it could also represent knowledge or some kind of transformation or any other things that you'd get from the pyramid. Alright, so so the next thing I did has to do with travel. Movement in some way. So right off the bat, I have a compass. And then I have a little rowboat here. If I can get a hold of the edge of it. A little rowboat. This for me is a lot like the Six of Swords, right? I'm sailing away from stuff that doesn't serve me anymore. And then when it's inverted, it tells me the same thing as the Six of Swords inverted, like, oh, I need to go deeper. And any other meanings that you can get from that, or just a boat in general, right? Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Like up shit creek without a paddle, that kind of stuff. So I have the wheel, wagon wheel by itself. So it could be like the wheel in the sky. It could be, it's moving. My luck is changing. All those kinds of things. Hankering for a hunk of cheese, maybe. So I have an old-timey horse and cart here. And what is it called? Isometric angle, kind of. It's a little bit like either that or they're going downhill really fast. But this horse and cart thing is like there's a bunch of stuff coming. It's like kind of like a U-Haul, right? I'm bringing my stuff with me. It can also be like the chariot, right? But it's closed in. So anything related to that. Your cart before the horse, or any other chariot and car related kind of things. It could also just be like old technology, right? Like a horse and buggy is just kind of old. Now that was part of my expansion pack. The first chariot charm that I drew was a UFO. Well, this is actually based on a dream that I had. So there's an alien over here on this side, and then the other side is the control panel. And the saucer. So it's accurate in terms of being a small cartoon of what I saw. And as if there wasn't like half of them still to go. So I have what is like my human pile. So this is the masculine. Oh, I can't even hold on to these. This is the masculine, right? There's a spot of dark inside him, and he's light. And the feminine is matchy-matchy, right? Like the yin-yang. So she's dark with a spot of light in her. And it's not like this is male and this is female. It's masculine energy, linear. And feminine energy, which is kind of flowing. That's why he's drawn like a bathroom sign, and she's all curvy. So then I have this, which is a child thing. They're on a little teeter, and there's two of them. Part of that's because the inner child has masculine and feminine energies, but it could also be two children, kind of like the Six of Cups. So you could take that how you want to, but those are children. So then I have parts of people. I have a mouth, which could be dealing with something that you're going to say or eat, or anything else that's related to sound or speech or mouth related things. Could be sexual if you really wanted it to be, but it doesn't, not explicitly. So I have an eyeball. It's a little bit warped because I dropped it in my tea once. I bet it dried. See, it's if I can hold it right. It's kind of warped now, like a Pringle. So this is the eyeball. It could be the third eye. It could be I'm looking at something. But yeah, it's an eyeball. This one is explicitly the third eye. I even drew it vertically. So this is just a person in general with their different energy layers. And then the third eye. So I have a hand. There's a ring on it. You know, it could be like the ring in the Lenormand where it could deal with like contracts and things that are like important or have a lot of value, but it could literally be a wedding ring, which is why I kind of drew it like that. It's hard to tell, but this is the thumb over here, just like a little cartoon hand. I don't know why the ring finger is so much bigger, but yeah, that's a hand. And then I have a finger, and this is blood coming out of it. So this could be, you know, diabetes. It could be, you know, you're bleeding me dry. It could be, oh, I pricked my finger, I'm injured. It could be like I need to look at my DNA. You know, anything in that kind of vein. Ha ha. So finger pricking good. Might get into some Sleeping Beauty stuff here too. I should draw a bed. I don't have a bed or a couch. Nobody's lounging around in my charms. So I have a little strand of DNA here. Zooming in a little bit. Science. And a skull. More body parts. This could be like the death card. I found this humorous. This is supposed to be actually a femur, but I don't know. Pretty much every time I get it, I have to make that humorous joke. I mean, the long and short of it is that it's a bone. Insert your own insert your own puns and jokes, but it's a bone. And if you get it with the Stegosaurus, it's, you know, like dinosaur bones, like digging up something that's old and dusty and, you know, is turned into rock. This is the stick a fork in me, I'm done, and you can tell that he's dead because his eyeballs are X's. This is like the 10 of Wands. No, this is like the 10 of Swords. Sorry, 10 of Swords. Stick a fork in me, I'm done. Dead, overkill. Not doing anymore. And then I have a ghost, which is ghosting, but seated in the lotus position because he's chilling. Okay, so the next one is clothing. So I have a fancy shoe, a pump, if you will, and then I think this is supposed to be a high top sneaker, but it looks kind of like a work boot. Sometimes it makes me think of Duke Nukem's jump shoes in those old DOS games. I have shorts. I often get like fly by the seat of your pants when I see these, especially if it's going in a certain direction, but shorts. And then I also have pants. Where's my people? I gotta find my people. Where'd they go? Okay, there, okay. Let's see this. Yeah, that doesn't really work. They're a little bit too big. And the t-shirt's a little bit too big too. So let's see for a second. So I have the pants. Where'd they go? I lost them already. Well, I showed them for a second. You can pause, go back and pause it, but there were pants and there's a t-shirt. And the pants usually give a little bit of an easier meaning, like, oh, I'm getting pantsed, or who wears the pants in this relationship. I lost, they're somewhere in there. Touch the other ones in the pile and they go everywhere. But the t-shirt has a little bit more of an obscure meaning. It's sort of like put your design here, or, you know, I'm gonna give him the shirt off my back or something like that. It's a little bit more obscure, but if it can mean different things. So this is a dress, and I didn't plan it this way, but it just happens to roughly fit on this feminine figure. Not exactly, but it kind of looks like it fits. But it's not intended to really go with the feminine. Usually when I see this, it's like there's something that needs to be addressed. I usually see it as a visual pun. But it could have something to do with a dress, like maybe if somebody's getting married or going to a debutante ball or some kind of princess situation, right? It could be that dealing with the princess paradigm, which is a real problem. So I have this necklace, then it can be a piece of jewelry and have different meanings in those ways. A lot of the times I'll see this as the necklace in The Little Mermaid, where Ursula steals Ariel's voice and puts it in the shell. But it's not really a shell, it's just kind of a generically drawn pendant. But I do get that fairly often when I read this. A couple of other times I got in other stuff, but I would say like 80% of the time I see it as the necklace from The Little Mermaid. So I have mittens. Optional interpretation is oven mitts. So it's either protecting from the cold or protecting from the heat, depending. Or it could be something that's like it's knit together, or just extra focus on the hands. Like I gotta hand it to you, like I need it, or like some kind of, like it could even be like sports gloves or like a baseball mitt or something. But there's a pair of them there. So mittens. I also have a glove, which is enormous. I think when I was drawing this, I was thinking about, and why it's so huge is because I was thinking about the glove in Yellow Submarine. But this is a fancy glove. It could be, you know, for falconing or for horse riding or for slapping somebody to challenge them to a duel. All right, it could be construction work gloves. Any of those kind of things. Different interpretations, but it is slightly a fancier glove. Then get a toque. Got a winter hat here. It looks like a turtle shell, but these are supposed to be the strings coming down, so you could get a little bit of a turtle shell. I often think of this as getting the wool pulled over your eyes. Be a little bit of like a Mario Kart action there if you're still seeing it as a turtle shell. Either or, but it's still a winter hat. I have a cowboy hat too, and that's open to interpretation. It could be like going out on a journey or any of those kinds of things. Could be some like yeehaw, or it could be referencing a certain period in history as well. A little bit of Brokeback Mountain maybe. But yeah, there's a cowboy hat there, and there's a top hat too. You're gonna be a dandy, getting fancy. Maybe pull a rabbit out of there. especially if you get the rabbit. So there's some different stuff going on with the top hat. You could also get a little bit of like Monopoly guy energy, depending. Also have clearly a magician's hat, so this is definitely hitting that magician card energy. Also could be pulling a rabbit out of here. Also could be maybe not trying to pull the wool over the universe's eyes, but the magician in hat format. Speaking of the Beatles, a little bit of magical mystery tour there. My voice is getting pretty rough. So the next pile is emotions. So I have this kawaii face that I made. This sort of joy feelings. Like, it's so cute. Oh my god. Ah. Adorable. So then I have the happy mask and the sad mask. The sad man behind blue eyes. I mean, this is sort of, you know, like, I don't really feel this way, but this is what I'm presenting. Or it could be like some kind of theater. It could be like drama or tragedy or some kind of a farce, depending on what you're getting. I don't think I've ever gotten those come out together. This is the F-bomb. For when things are proper fucked. This human body is the nervous system. So typically anxiety, stress, panic, that kind of stuff. This is kind of like the 6 of Pentacles. Essentially, that's what this charm is meant to illustrate, right? So I have 2 hands, two shaggy, crappy gloves reaching up for this coin that's coming down from this more ornate glove with clearly more money. So generosity, more or less, like sort of giving. So the next pile is food and drink, things that you ingest. So I have an empty frying pan here. So like if I get the pig and I get the frying pan together, I'm like, it's bacon. And sometimes the egg comes with it. So it's a little bit, I'm trying to get it in focus all the way. That's a little better. So the frying pan, it took me a while to, took me a few tries to get that drawn right. It's supposed to be an iron frying pan. And then I have a chalice. I mean, basically the Ace of Cups. A goblet. A goblet if you're nasty. I should draw a turkey. I have a lot of birds already though, but I should draw a turkey. You have a cake. You can have this cake, but you can't eat it. I mean, you could, but it wouldn't taste very good. I don't know what chemicals they use in this paper. There. Cake. And I have ice cream as well. This was part of my expansion pack. I love the way this came out, my ice cream cone. It took me several tries to draw this, but once I finally achieved the vision, I was super excited. I'll just leave them on the table. So this is a donut. But it's, so I mean, it can literally be a donut. It could be a bagel if you're feeling frisky. But it also doubles as an image of a toroidal field. Right? Because a torus, T-O-R-U-S, is a donut. Energetically, and 2 donuts stacked on top of each other is basically the feedback loop mechanism of the universe. So we have a donut here representing some of that, or it could be like a black hole, or if you're feeling gross, it could be a butthole. So you have the pure grade A maple syrup here. Tasty. Gallon, quart, gallon, whatever. This is a sugar bowl. I just put them in cubes to make it a little more obvious. Sometimes I see this as like earth energy, but chopped up into little bits. So like a 7 of Pentacles maybe, or just like adding sugar for in whatever way that would mean. But they're little cubes. In general, that's a sugar bowl. And we got the true tea here. A little tea bag, so you know that it's tea. The teacup. Get that true tea, hunty. And this little travel cup here with the paper on it is meant to be coffee. But, you know, you could have chai in there. We don't know. We have a cappuccino. So there's the coffee. So something else that you would ingest. I can hold on to it. A little pill bottle. Some pills sticking out on it. Some people are into the pills and alcohol. So these two champagne glasses is a lot like the Two of Cups, and it could be interpreted as such. It could also just be the sort of party and celebration atmosphere. And then, if that's not enough, I got a 40. Well, not a 40. It's kind of like a bottle of brandy, I guess, or cognac, maybe. It's more like a kind of shaped like a Crown Royal bottle, but it's 40% alcohol anyway, because that's what I've written on it. Some spirits. Could be like literally alcohol, or it could be figuratively spirits, especially if that ghost comes out with it. It could be mouthwash if it comes out with a toothpaste. I'm stuck to the chair. So my next pile is music, which is a form of expression, but it's also a form of resonance. So I have an electric guitar. I have a bunch of these, although not as many as I thought I had. I think I need some drums, though. I'm gonna make some drums. So I have an electric guitar. What's that? I'm just trying to get it to come in clearly. So electric guitar. I have a cello. Nope. There we go. That's what I want to see. I was there for a second. A cello. Really there? Nope. It's like it won't be. It doesn't want to be in focus all at the same time. It's probably because it's long. I have a teeny little one. There's a harmonica. And I have a piano. Just trying really hard to be a grand piano, but I don't know if it's there yet. Come on. Why won't you focus? Kind of? Maybe? I got a record player. This is great for what, like, when you want to say that things are a broken record, especially if it comes out like that. This is something that's like on a loop, or you keep replaying it over and over again. Something that's been recorded. There. Come on. And I have a microphone. 2 turntables and a microphone. Also can be very phallic. It could also be disconnected because it's not plugged. It's like a wireless. These aren't French tips. I just scraped most of my nail polish off, and I haven't painted them again. But kind of like they're just going there for a second. But a microphone. And this looks like a washer and dryer, but it's really trying to be speakers. I have headphones. Come on. Trying to piss me off. Headphones. I have a boombox. And the pièce de résistance, I've got Weird Al. So I don't own his likeness, clearly. So I probably can't sell him either, but I was thinking I could put like a generic musician in there, maybe. Like a figure with a big musical note on them, so you'd know it was like actually either a musician or a singer or something like that. So I was thinking of kind of like how in my coloring book I took a few celebrity drawings that I did and made them generic. I think there's at least 3 of them in my Energy Forms coloring book. So one of them's called Music, the other one's called Roses, and the other one is like Turning the Pentagons. So those, I could do that with this one too. With Gizmo I can't really do that, but with this I could make a generic musician figure. Again, because I can't really sell Weird Al, but if you... Let me get that to come in and focus really good if you wanna... Scab him and print him out for yourself, feel free, because I can't sell him. Do not own the rights to him or have permission to sell his likeness. But there's my Weird Al charm. Ow. So the next pile that I have is about further communication. Like not non-singing communication, but like in general, and like research. Although research is basically just looking up what somebody's already said. So we'll look at it in this pile. So I have a podium, all fancy like, 3 microphones, and a little ribbon besides, or a sash. I guess it's more like a sash. Or a garland. I guess that would be a garland. There we go. Podium. And a telephone. Circa 1970s. Old school. I'm gonna turn the dial. So there could be a rotational aspect there. A wheel even. I have a cell phone as well, which is mid-conversation. Where the hell? It's losing focus on me. It's trying to make me anger. There we go, cell phone. I have a laptop, which looks like it might be on Facebook, but it could be an article, we don't know. So laptop. So then I have glasses. Now these are intended to be reading glasses, sort of reading glass shape. They might even be bifocals the way that I've drawn them there. So I have reading glasses. I have a magnifying glass. Oh, I should make an ant. I don't have an ant. I have a microscope as well. We get even further in there. Now if this comes out with the DNA, then you're into something. So I have a letter. Now it's either somebody's just opened it or it hasn't been mailed yet or whatever, but more or less similar meaning to the letter in Lenormand or the Rider, right? There's a message coming in, there's some details, there's a documentation, like I've got to have to submit these forms or something like that. A little bit more desperate version of that, I have a message in a bottle. I hate that song. But there it is, message in a bottle. Now in terms of information, so I have a stack of books here. It says history and geometry, and then there's a composition book. So it doesn't have to specifically be those subjects, but it's, you know, a stack of school books. Taking notes maybe. Some kind of exam, being possibly the universe testing you on what you've learned about something. If you want to get into the older stuff, I have a scroll here. If this comes out with the pyramid, then you really got some stuff going on. A scroll, which reminds me of that Where's Waldo book with all the scrolls in it. I should get those books. I miss those books. But yeah, there's like, you have to find like a scroll in every one, and there's like 8 of them or something. I don't remember. So the other book that I have is the Kama Sutra. So if this comes out with something phallic or something sort of vaginal looking, like the lips or the feminine figure or the one of the flowers, you might be having something sexy going on. But a lot of the time I get this inverted, and when I get the Kama Sutra inverted, what I've discovered is it's kind of funny this way, but it's like I'm uncomfortable in this position. And that's a really handy message to get in a reading. I am uncomfortable in this position. And it's kind of an unusual assortment of words to get, but when the Kama Sutra comes inverted, it's very clearly that. Or I mean, it could also be inexperience, but again, that would be I'm uncomfortable in this position. I don't like it here. But this is, you know, it's not necessarily like, ooh, I have to be some guru. This is information that's available on something that's taboo, maybe. So a pile of basically weapons here. So I have a mace, which doubles as, for me, as an ace of wands, ace of fire. I have an arrow here. This, to me, can also be an ace of wands, but more generally gives me Sagittarius energy. So it would be hitting in that 8 of wands energy, maybe. I have a shield here. Possibly 7 of wands energy. But it does go hand in hand, haha, with this sword here. So this is one of my very clear ace of swords energies. Double-edged sword. And then it's like, we can't go into warp speed with the shields up. So the next pile I have is basically like money related. So I have a credit card. Mr. Person's credit card. But I also have the back of the credit card with the CCV or whatever it's called. So this is sort of like, oh, I'm paying for it, or I've got some karmic debt coming up, that kind of stuff. This is like, I've got to look at the details. I gotta get, like, I really need to, like, put more into it, or like more vulnerability. But usually it's like, this is one of my details cards, and I didn't mention this because I can't really sell Gizmo, but if you pause that and scab him off the screen for yourself, Gizmo is also one of my need to look at the details, right? Because you can't feed him after midnight, you can't get him wet, and you can't expose him to sunlight. There's rules involved, right? And when you see those books, it might be rules as well. But this is the back of the credit card for me specifically has to do with like looking at the details. And then I got, they're kind of small though. But I got the dollar bills, y'all. Not gonna be there we go, dollar bills. And then I've got this vending machine. So it could be a gumball machine, or it could be those plastic things with slime in them, or little rings, or those like little sticky hands or whatever. But it's a vending machine, and it's clearly marked with 25 cents. So there's still some kind of monetary aspect involved, or it could just be like hearkening back to childhood, or something that's coming out incrementally. These don't necessarily go with anything, but they do go together. So I have a watering can. I mean, you see water, right? Emotional stuff, perhaps. How do you make your garden grow? This trowel, for me, alternately called a spade, is another Ace of Swords energy for me in my charms. This one indicates I need to go deeper, right? Because I'm into digging. And this has to do with, you know, it's not pouring, but sort of seasoning, like soaking what you're trying to ground and grow with your emotion, right? It's like sort of like a hopeful expectation kind of energy, perhaps. These charms also don't go with anything, but they kind of go together. So I have this balloon. Think of air. Think of floating, that kind of stuff. Or perhaps popping it. And I don't know why I wanted to draw the balloon. It's got a string that's just sort of curled up so it's not like, so the charm isn't too fragile. And because there'll be like a little spiral going on there. I'm not really sure what the balloon means to me right now, but if it comes out in a reading, there's air involved, there's, you gotta blow into it. It can come flying out, or you could fill it with water balloons. So, I mean, there's some different stuff going on, but it just sort of also comes in as one of those sort of childhood toy kind of things. Because I don't have any like dolls or board games or anything on here, and maybe I should. This is a 16-ton weight. Very cartoonish, but this also comes in like the tower. Alright, number 16. Heavy duty stuff going on. It could be a cowbell if you're nasty. These two have to do with energy. This is like 2 Tesla coils linked together, or 2 Tesla towers linked together. It's often called a sousaphone. There's a lot of energy going on here, and there's also a resonant thing going on, and there's some sound going on there too if you want to. And then I have a battery. It's like a car battery. So this pile is like tools. So let's start out with sort of divination tools. I have an 8-ball. So number 8, but it could also be infinity. There's like a limited amount of responses in here. Right, there's limitations. There's also this triangular shape here. There should be, in theory, there should be 8 answers in there. There's a suggestion that there's an octahedron in there. That it's like, in the infinitesimal range of the universe, like you're only accepting a certain amount of, like, I'm not going to do it unless the universe gives me these 8 things. So then I have a crystal ball. Fortune telling. But I have a little crystal spire here. Crystal point. Oh, I dropped it. So I have a little tape here. Generally thought to be Scotch tape of some sort, but it could be any other kind of tape. This is like gonna patch it, gonna fix it, gonna stick it back together, perhaps. If we get it with the boombox, it would be some kind of a cassette tape, perhaps. Well, I don't remember getting them together. So we have a ruler, a measurement, incremental, and the scissors. Obviously chop chop, a little bit of Queen of Swords energy. The trash can, garbage, waste paper basket, a bin, however you want to interpret that. Getting rid of stuff. So I have 2 here that are related to time. I have this little watch here. Could be a stopwatch if you're feeling frisky. Right? It's like I gotta be on time, or I have to have time on me. I have a calendar. Clearly a calendar. Dealing with time again. So this second to last pile is about illumination and reflection. So I have a match. This is kind of another Ace of Wands energy. Burning match. Followed by the candelabra. More illumination. A little bit of Be Our Guest, perhaps. A little bit of Liberace, maybe. Maybe flashlight, or a torch if you have a different accent. Oh. These are supposed to be light rays coming out of it. Now, if sunglasses here, and did not put them with that beach umbrella. I put them over here. They actually look kind of like reflective goggles, but this is a tool that can be used to shut out illumination, or you could be taking off the blinders, depending. Future's so bright you gotta wear shades. Eh? Or if you get that with the chalet, it could be ski goggles. So I have a camera here, right? This allows you to take pictures, right? It's something that you can go back and look at. You can reflect upon it. And then for instant review, I have a Polaroid, right? Because you flap it around a little bit and now you can see what happened 2 minutes ago and you can already review it. You don't have to wait like 2 weeks for the photo mat or whatever. I have a mirror, right? It could be like who's the fairest of them all, but it's also this idea of like what am I looking at? And if you get it with the ghost, it's sort of like going through the mirror, or the rabbit like through the looking glass. Those kind of things. If you get it with the pills, it would be a little bit more Alice in Wonderland too, like eat me, that kind of stuff. Right? I'm reflecting on myself in real time in the mirror. So I'm getting a little hoarse, but I have one little pile left. This is about cleansing and clearing. So we'll start with the fire hydrant. To put out the fire, to tap into that emotional reservoir to deal with like rage or heat, or you know, my shit's going up in flames, that kind of stuff. I don't have a dog, but if it comes out with like the wolf, it could be that like pissing on the fire hydrant kind of energy. Should make a dog. So I have a toilet, and this can be either like there's some shit going on, or like I'm just flushing these things away, right? I'm gonna let it out and then I'm gonna flush it and I'm gonna be done with it. Emotionally, figuratively, whatever. I don't have any cards though either. Do I have anything that's a game? I should make some little cards. Would it be like a royal flush? So in related bathroom news, I have a shower bathtub situation here, right? Cleansing, emotional work, water. And I also have a toothpaste, like getting that taste out of your mouth, like maybe even watching what you say. You can tell it's toothpaste because there's a brush and a tooth on it. And then there's this whole bath situation there. Alright, so those are the charms that I have. I may or may not make some more. And again, I'm looking to either make them PDFs for printout or to print out on this same cardstock and mail to people, or I want to try to make them like resin or plastic or whatever the hell to sell as little three-dimensional objects, kind of like these. So if you'd like to, if you're interested in the paper charms, again, check, let me know in the comments or email me. I'm trying to do this without turning it off. Okay. There we go. Alright. Sorry about my voice. It's getting pretty rough right now. I'm almost done. Please bear with me. So you can email me here. It's through the link tree, linktr.ee/CATtheMinion. I've got those coloring books, dark poetry, merch prints, actual art items. A lot of it's going to look like this. I've got chapbook packs available on Etsy. It's sort of like getting a couple of cards, like a quick review reading. There's like random little drawings in there, so it'd be sort of like me tossing a little handful of charms at you, but they're neat little packets. Those are available there. There's a 17% off discount if you get 3 or more items, and those little packets are only a few bucks each, so you get 17% off if you get 3 or more of them, and it'll help take a chunk off at the top of that. So those are available. I've got tarot readings for sale. You can add charms to any reading that I offer for $7. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, comment, check out my playlists tab, my discussion tab, and stay groovy, and we'll see you later. Bye.